There we go.
Here we go. We are live, fresh, straight after the Golden Globes. The big story, La La Land at the Globes wins 7. I'm not sure if this is reversed or something. The camera's playing up a bit today. I'm like Jimmy Fallon at the Globes. So I'm not sure the technology's on my side. But boy, oh boy, La La Land, 7 Golden Globes. That's a record. Amanda, you've got a lot to say about this. What is it?
Oh, well, yeah, I think the last film was Midnight. Was it Midnight Express?
Boy.
7? That's 6.
Yeah.
7 is a lot. I think what it's helped by is the fact that we just came off a nasty election year. So I think people want something uplifting and positive. Remember election years, the last one? Argo won, and there was a rooting factor for it. Slumdog Millionaire won in an election year. Rocky won in an election year. So I think this fun, bright, happy musical is probably going to benefit more from this nasty election cycle than anyone. Because it's just happy. Who doesn't want to be happy after all that drudge? And I think we saw that tonight with 7 awards. They did something they've never done. And it's been a long time since the films won 5 or 6.
Yes, definitely. And I can see we're joined by Tom O'Neill. I think he's still setting up his technology, so I'll throw to a question him in a minute. But Robert, what do you want to add to the La La Land suite?
Yeah, I guess it was the only surprise was that it wasn't that surprising. I mean,
wait, can everybody hold on, please? We have a huge echo here going. Stop, please. Put your Amanda, put your thing on, your microphone on mute. Somebody's playing here. You hear it?
No, I don't hear the echo. So is the echo from me?
No. All right, all right.
Are we good now? I guess if no one's talking, there'll be no echo.
What is going on here?
I don't know.
Somebody has 2. Maybe me.
Oh, Tom might be the culprit.
Oh, it's my fault. Okay.
Maybe, perhaps.
I had 2 windows open. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. There we go. Oh, Tom.
Go back. I'm yelling at everybody else.
Some more egg on your face, Tom. You said 7 wins couldn't be done. La La Land did it. Give us your thoughts.
I also said, among the other stupid things in the pre-show, I said that Moonlight wasn't going to win. It was between Hacksaw and Manchester. I already got a nasty email from Tony. But well deserved, by the way, that I deserve. These are the hardships of punditry here. Look, what a bunch of shocks. HBO won nothing. NBC, host of the show, won nothing. Harvey Weinstein won nothing.
Wow.
This Golden Globes was, in so many levels, utterly fascinating.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was like an incredible year. A lot of upsets. A few things that went as expected. It wasn't like every category was an upset. There's a lot to talk about. Tom, when did your jaw hit the floor first, or the biggest jaw dropper?
La La Land winning script. I just couldn't believe it. Musicals never win screenplay awards anywhere. And when that happened early on in the show, you just knew it was a sweep.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Yeah. David?
Even before then, when they won score and song back to back, and I had them maybe at most 3rd ranked for score, I said, okay, we could be on a sweep starting now, because I really did not think that they would win score and song, and they did. And that was the start of it for me.
Yeah, they loved La La Land, big films. Amanda said like optimism might have been a big thing to do with it. Robert, do you have any additional thoughts on this? Like,
well, I mean, I too thought one of the song things would either go to Lin-Manuel or Justin Timberlake, just because they seem to, they like Golden Globes likes to have their celebrities up there, but they've they just fell under the spell of La La Land, and they gave it everything. And for a while there, I was wondering, I would think Emma Stone must have felt such pressure, because for a while there, it was like everything else was winning. Is she going to win? After the kind of upsets in the acting, I wasn't sure if she was going to take it, but then she ended up also getting it. So,
and let's put a little perspective on this La La Land sweep, by the way. It has been erroneously reported everywhere, including at Gold Derby, over and over, that the record at the Golden Globes is 6 wins for Midnight Express and Cuckoo's Nest. That is not the record. 2 of each. In the case of each of those movies, one of those awards that these sources that we're quoting are counting were that notorious Pia Zadora Award, that Newcomer of the Year thing, which did not go to the film at all. Get rid of that, and the actual award previous to La La Land, in order to give you some perspective of what happened tonight, the previous award was total was 5, and it was won by many films, including The Godfather, Love Story, the Barbara Streisand version, Dr. Zhivago, Midnight Express, and the others. So this win is the equivalent, I guess, of Lord of the Rings at the Oscars, which is setting a new record by a lot. I mean, setting a new record, or no, that tied the record over there, but did it in an undefeated sweep. Wow. And where was Natalie Portman? See, I've been warned ahead of time by some of the Globe voters that Isabel could pull off this win, but I kind of didn't really think they would, because it would. Natalie is obviously on the course to potential Oscar win. I'm not sure that Isabel could pull that off, but they love her over there. The voters, they have been saying that over and over as we run into them during the season, and I didn't quite believe that was happening either when it did.
Has this lead actress race now blown open with Isabel, Emma Stone, and Natalie Portman now all viable contenders to win in the act? Like to me, tonight has sort of set off a grenade in that lead actress race.
Yes, yeah. I agree.
When was the last time, Tom, do you know off the top of your head, an actress won the Oscar without a SAG Award nomination?
Marcia Gay Harden, probably.
No, I'm Best Actress.
Oh, Best Actress. Oh.
Because I'm trying to think how this is going to affect her Oscar chances.
I forgot.
I don't think if anybody's ever. I don't know if anybody's ever won Best Actress without a SAG nomination.
We're all going blank. But there was another Marcia Gay Harden equivalent. I know that was supporting actors, but there was another equivalent in recent years. But you're right. This is very, very rare. And what I love about this is that we finally have something to talk about. This La La is going to go the distance at the Oscars. We know it. Look, I love something Riley Chow said on the pre-show, which was, Damien Chazelle's not going to win because they never win. Directors never win for musicals. And all over the place tonight. And that was true, of course. I mean, all over the place tonight, we saw these things shattered and broken. And look, if you haven't seen La La Land yet, and you're watching this video, get out and see it tomorrow. It is this extraordinary movie that it's purported to be. It will transport you, and if it doesn't, you have a hole in your chest where a heart should be.
When Kate Winslet won for The Reader, she wasn't nominated for Best Actress at SAG because she was in the supporting race for that.
Yeah, but not one of those crazy occasions.
Yeah. I'm just going through the list of SAG nominees now to see if there's anyone that's sort of like one that wasn't nominated on the list. What about the lead actor race at the Oscars now? I think that Casey Affleck was able to win tonight, which is good for him. Ryan Gosling, I thought, gave a very strong speech on the back of it. I think if you were doing the speech stakes, I would say Ryan Gosling performed much better than Casey Affleck on stage.
Yeah, that was really touching.
Absolutely.
Talking about his, I guess his brother-in-law or his girlfriend's brother's cancer battle and things like that. So yeah, he was really. And plus he pulled it together because that was a surprise, that was a really competitive category. He didn't really, it wasn't a sure thing that he'd be up there. So that was a good speech.
It did feel like all the winners who probably thought they were going to win really upped their game this year in terms of the speeches they were going to give. Because every year we seem to talk about the presumed winners who go up there and read off of paper and seem really frazzled. And I don't think we got that really with any of them that knew that there was a really good chance that they would do it this year.
Yeah, I think Casey Affleck was probably his best tonight, which that Matt Damon joke was perfect. Like, yeah, I'm sure Damon's thinking the same thing himself. So
How many brothers have won Oscars? Like, will that be, except for the Coen brothers? I don't know if I can think of any others. Like, yeah. And Ben Affleck's never been nominated for acting, oddly.
Why is that so odd?
Well, not really. That's true.
So, Matt, I got to ask, are you drunk? You got beer there in front of you there.
I just started post-show. Like,
we've driven you to drink, right? Okay.
how did Aaron Taylor Johnson win?
I know,
was
it
That
was
shocks.
Did Tom Ford give everyone suits? Like, how did that one?
well, you were saying, Tom, there seemed to be some Tom Ford, at least Nocturnal's animal love within the Golden Globe voting body. They also, like, I think with like Nocturnal Animals, it did well with nominations compared to what we're expecting it from other award groups. So I wonder if they sort of just loved La La Land so much this was the only place they could vote for that film.
Yeah, I think exactly what you're saying. That's a real insight, actually. That's well. Hey, let's talk about the speech of the night. Meryl Streep kicking butt from the podium.
Wow.
What a profound, deeply felt, poignant performance. I mean, she deserves a Globe for that performance on stage. And I got a sense, I'm sure you did too, that whilst much of it was scripted, much of it was not, and that it was coming from her heart as she was just feeling what a lot of us feel and expressing it with such class and passion. Wow, it was very gripping, and I loved how the camera swept the room to get the reactions of the people in the crowd to what she was saying. Sometimes we need Hollywood to be political. Sometimes when they're shoving their politics in our face, it's nonsense, and it's just like, who cares? Even when if it's politics that we appreciate and agree with as citizens, it's still. You don't want to see Richard Gere at the Oscars telling to say that, right? And that's a classic example of overreach at award shows. But tonight was one that was well stated at just the right time by one of the classiest people on the planet. What do you guys think?
I love her. Her and Viola Davis I thought they both. I was a little surprised it was only one person from Meryl Streep, but if it had to be only one person, they picked the right person because she nailed it. Meryl Streep nailed it. She didn't even turn around to see the standing ovation after she left. Like, she dropped the mic and walked off. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
And it was perfect.
Yeah, and after that really emotional speech for everybody watching, to see her get so emotional talking about Carrie Fisher was really touching, and just kind of she was so strong talking about something so dear to her heart for the whole time, and to see her kind of break down that way was just the icing on the cake in terms of the emotional resonance of that speech.
Yeah.
Oh, I just got a text from Marcus. Oh, is he pissed at me? I switched from Moonlight to Manchester because of your speech during the pre-show. Yeah, I'll just text you
I
back.
switched from Isabelle Huppert to Natalie Portman because of your speech in the pre-show.
God, I'm so
And I had to
sorry.
prepare from the beginning, like from when that was gonna be my big risk. I was like I'm gonna stick with that, but I chickened out.
Well,
I'm very sorry, Robert.
What
That's okay.
What do you think, Tom? You were also somewhat skeptical that Moonlight, as Marcus just texted, could win. Does I feel like it did better tonight than Manchester by the Sea by besting it for Best Picture. Is it now positioning itself as the alternative to La La Land at the Oscars?
I think it is, and I think what's interesting is, what's behind this. Let's be honest here, is that like 12 Years of Slave a few years ago, that very much as important as the film itself and the success and the critical reception of a film is who's behind it. And of course, it's Brad Pitt. It's Plan B Productions, and they're behind Moonlight. They did 12 Years of Slave, and they were in full force from the Toronto Film Festival on to really market it effectively, and it was very effective what they did. It's a little movie that I'm not sure. I certainly can't win at the Oscars. You can't get past La La Land, but it has coalesced as the rival, I think.
Yeah. So, what other categories are we talked about? The lead acting races. Supporting actress went as expected to Viola Davis. One of the she gave a really good speech, I thought.
Excellent.
And we did a disservice in the pre-show. I thought we talked about all the categories. We didn't talk about animated feature or foreign film. So that went to Elle and Zootopia. Zootopia, probably my favorite win of the night. That's possibly one of my favorite films of the year, and I was really happy to see it win.
Let's talk about foreign film for a second, because I think Zootopia was great, and that was a gimme. We knew that was going to win, but I mean there was some off chance of an upset.
Moana. I think Moana could have won it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been too shocked.
But Elle was interesting because, Tony Erdmann is the movie that you're supposed to love among the foreign films this year, and if you don't, you're just ostracized. It's like Moonlight. If you don't think it's the greatest movie of all time, you just are not permitted to take 5 steps in Hollywood anywhere because you'll be crucified. And so there's this group think around Tony Erdmann that we were all watching coming into this Globes, because many of the Globes were saying, it's just 29 hours long. Who wants to sit through? I mean, there are people like Ann Thompson. It's not only the greatest movie of the year, it's one of the greatest movies of all time. You have that contingency, and then you have the similar, situation with the fact that it's so much of an investment to view, and it's so. I won right before the Globes, and I kept telling myself, go back to your computer, Tom, and switch to Elle. And I didn't do it. That was one. But this is very funny. I just heard from Chris Beecham, our buddy, and he said, Tom, I just ran the scores for the TV races.
Oh, no.
And there are 5 of us experts, who tied. I think we had like 3 right or something, or out of 11 categories. I don't know how many. It was pathetic. But the user at Gold Derby, who got the best score, got 9 out of 11. I don't know who that is yet.
Me.
What's that?
I missed.
Wouldn't have been me.
Yeah. Wait. No. Yep. I'm trying.
You did well, Amanda. You were in like in the top few pages of that list.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So what were our quick thoughts about the TV races? Any big shocks there? Obviously, The Night Manager winning 3 was the sort of it didn't win series, but it was the big winner of the night.
Well, I think what we learned is that when the Globes love you, they really, really, really love you, because Hugh Laurie not only won 2 in a row, he pulled off a shock of a win, picking up that supporting actor trophy. I mean. And who doesn't want to see the full total for a limited series? I would have been sitting there like sweating if they hadn't announced it so soon. They really kind of killed the drama by announcing it right after.
Why did they do that? Why did they announce the top TV awards before they gave out all of the acting awards? That really irritated me.
Yeah, it was really weird because they all of a sudden Hugh Laurie for The Night Manager, Olivia Colman for The Night Manager, Tom Hiddleston for The Night Manager. I'm sitting there going, oh boy, Night Manager might win series, and then I thought, oh wait a second, it won. It lost that like an hour ago.
Ryan Murphy is probably like, thank God they announced this early, because otherwise I would have been like freaking out.
Yeah. I thought that someone might come out at the end of the show and go, oh, actually we made a mistake with the miniseries award. It actually went to The Night Manager. So yeah, good night for The Night Manager. Atlanta did well, as I think Donald Glover said he was very surprised, but Gold Derby had him projected to win. So
he should have checked our website.
Yeah. Who else do we have? Who else do we have on the TV side?
Tracy Ellis.
Yeah. There we go.
I listened to myself one time.
Yeah. That was a good one. The Crown won drama series, won lead actress in a drama series, but John Lithgow missed out, which was a surprise.
Right.
Crown not as strong as expected. Yeah.
it's that race, that crazy.
Yeah.
I was happy to see Billy Bob Thornton win. I thought he would be the one Amazon win, and Amazon had to win something, right? Like they like it enough that they had to win one award. I'm curious to see how this helps him at all at the Emmys, because the show for the buzz for Goliath is almost non-existent. But maybe it can build on buzz here and get him into lead actor.
Yeah, just remember Kelsey Grammer won for that show on
Boss.
Boss and Stars and things.
Yeah.
Like it is, and I think that is like a good question for especially your Donald Glover in Atlanta. Like, will this be like a transparent that like goes through and gets nominated at the Emmys? Will it be a Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which sort of we all now go, oh, Atlanta's the hot new show, and then by the time we get to the Emmys, it's sort of the voters just ignore it. So it'll be quite interesting to see how that goes. I think
Amazon does get to have bragging rights over Netflix on the film side, because Amazon Studios just won its first film award, and we all know what happened last year with Netflix. So I really feel like if Netflix had released Beasts of No Nation the way Manchester was released, woulda, shoulda, coulda, but yeah. Netflix, I don't want to rain on their parade because they just won their first series award, but
yeah.
But a bad night for cable. HBO, Showtime, Stars.
Yeah, Stranger Things didn't get anything. I would have thought they would have gone for Winona Ryder just for the headline factor of it, just to,
Yes.
like that she's back and something. And but I don't know. I guess.
Well, they didn't go for Mel Gibson for the headline either. Is he quashed at the Oscars?
Yeah.
Tom?
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Do you think he'll be nominated or?
No. The director's branch is only 300 some people, and there have been many cases. Robert Redford didn't get nominated for directing, right? Recently.
Yeah, Ben Affleck a couple years ago.
Yeah,
Ben
right.
Affleck won.
Angelina Jolie didn't a couple years ago when people thought she might. Yeah.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, I might ask Charles Bright and Riley Chow to join us. The rest of you stay on while we're waiting for them, so I'm not left on my own with the beer on Golden Globes tonight. Yeah, I don't be drinking alone.
I didn't know we could drink in the post show.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know that at the Golden Globes they have there are 1,200 people in that room, sitting in that room, and they consume 1,500 bottles of champagne.
Wow.
Plus white wine, plus beer, plus red wine, plus hard liquor. They are crap.
Tom, I want your take on Jimmy Fallon as host.
He was great. Wasn't he great? I just thought he handled that opening so beautifully. What, you didn't like him?
Terrible.
No, I didn't like him.
No, I thought he was terrible. I thought he was awful.
Oh, good, I love this.
Okay, so someone's drunk.
Yeah.
Charles, is your computer in one piece, or did you break it again?
Okay. Oh my gosh. So I think. Okay.
What?
We have too many people. I'm going to buzz off, and I'm going to watch you guys. Thanks.
Okay. I'll ask you.
Buzz off Tom for hating Moonlight.
I picked that for the win, so I was very
I did too, but still,
Okay, we might say also goodbye to Robert and David for now, and we'll and Amanda. But Robert, do you have a final thought, final word before I break it down with Charles and Riley?
Best actress is going to be interesting. I would say Emma Stone could take the SAG award, and then I think Natalie Portman's really vulnerable. I think Isabelle Huppert could kind of make history at the Oscars. That's kind of what I take away from this.
How would she make history?
Well, she'd be the. I just looked it up. She'd be the first person to win without a SAG nomination.
Oh, okay. I thought you were going for the foreign language. I'm like, wait.
Oh no! Yeah, no.
Yeah. What last thoughts, David?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words.
Lost for words.
Well, you know what? It was half. I mean, some of it went exactly as we thought it would. You know, The Crown winning 2. So they were really in line in some places, and they were so out of bounds in others. And that's why we love the Globes.
I did think the Globes have become a bit harder to predict the past sort of 2 or 3 years.
It's almost as if and I sent this out after Aaron Taylor Johnson won. It's almost as if they follow sites like this, and then they get together in a group as one and go, how can we screw with these people? How can we do that?
It's like they read the last 2 things I wrote. I'm like, son of a mother, why am I just following right?
Yeah.
I'm like, really?
Any final thoughts, Amanda?
Here we go again with supporting actor. Here we go again, because now we have to think about SAG and we have to think about BAFTA, and we all just have to start rethinking this. And it's like, we just got through this last year. Can't they have picked another category to make crazy? Like,
and already
seriously.
this season too with Liam Neeson.
I mean, yeah, really. Like, couldn't they just leave poor supporting actor alone and like picked on supporting actress or something? Like, here we go again. But yeah, I think we're just going to see the positivity of La La Land carry it through the Oscars, as long as like Emma Stone doesn't throw a phone at somebody. Or Damien Chazelle's like, I voted for Trump. Like, he's going to have to really stop to like
that would be toxic. You'd think of scandals that would affect your Oscar chances. Oh, well, thank you so much, Amanda, David, and Robert for joining us. We'll get you to close out now. We'll unpack another sort of 20, 25 minutes of Riley and Charles. Also, Tony, if you want to join us, Tony, click on the link.
Yes, Tony, we love you.
Tony, I forgot to say Tony. So Tony, join us. Charles, give us your first thoughts. Give us
the La La Land, man. Now, I'm not as confident as Tom is. One of the things that I had to do for in an article that'll be posted somewhat soon was monitoring the forum reactions, and there was a very strong contingent of people, and I think they're right to point this out. Could this be a La La Land backlash? I'm getting a repeat on you, Tony. I'm getting a bit of an echo there. Okay, thank you.
Tony, I have muted you. You'll need to get your earphones in or something. Okay, Charles.
Okay. I think there could be a backlash there, although this is something where the SAG snub in ensemble could actually benefit it. That way it's not winning everything and there could be a fatigue to it. But I am worried that there could be a backlash, especially not just that it won this way. It won all of it. So I'm just very concerned about that.
Yeah. What do you think, Riley?
Well, I think it'd have to be quite a backlash. Like, they are up, 7th, the most awarded film ever. So now if there's like a little bit of dissent, maybe they won't win everything, but they'll still win quite a bit. Yeah.
Tony?
I just love coming on here and being right. It just makes me happy.
What were you most right about, Tony?
Moonlight. Moonlight was just like, yes, I knew that was happening. The fact that everybody kept saying, and I'm very proud that I didn't change to Mel Gibson, because I just didn't see it. If the film had some sort of passion behind it, then I could see it. But it's far faded into the background. Hacksaw Ridge has, and to me, La La Land. If there's a film that was going to, change the dynamic, I think the one thing we should have learned after last year's Oscars was that the rules are meant to be broken. So just because something has happened doesn't mean that it will always happen. And I think that's definitely the case. And the fact that Moonlight got, not just Best Picture, but got a standing ovation and a prolonged standing ovation when it won. I'm not saying that La La Land isn't going to win. La La Land is probably going to sweep everything, but I think the one to look out for is Moonlight.
Moonlight did not win supporting actor, which was interesting, and that had me thinking, well, it's probably not going to win picture now, but it did. So, like,
But
it's
you know
sort of
what
like,
canceled that out? You know what I think canceled that out was the fact that Lonergan didn't win screenplay.
Mhm.
yeah.
I also
So-
think there's another side to that coin in that not only did Moonlight lose, it wasn't just that Moonlight lost the Best Supporting Actor category. It didn't lose it to something else that would be a competitive, that honestly that I don't think many of us probably have right now in our 5 for Best Supporting Actor at the Oscars. This is someone who is not nominated at SAG, Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's not nominated at SAG, and there's quite a bit of thinking that, there was, at least initially, that if there was anybody in that category from Nocturnal Animals that would get recognized, it would be Michael Shannon. So that's a surprise on so many levels, and didn't necessarily, I think, go against Moonlight in that sense.
Michael Shannon does have that Critics' Choice nomination too. And regarding SAG, like, they did see it. They gave it a stunt nomination for, who knows what, and they still overlooked him.
Yeah. So I think that's like an interesting spot, that supporting actor race, and like that will really, who gets nominated in that category, we'll see whether there's an upset looming.
And also, I hate that I took her out, but I had Isabelle Huppert in number 1 as well for a little while. I didn't have it in there the longest time, but I love that she won. I think regardless of, I'm still like mixed to positive about the film, but her performance is sensational. And I love that it threw this Best Actress category into, I think a lot of people in our forums are thinking that Emma Stone now has this in the bag. I think it's just competitive. That's all it is.
Yeah, I really feel like they dropped sort of like a grenade in it, and it's just blowing up the race. Riley, where do you think the Best Actress race now stands?
Yeah, I'd still go with Emma Stone. I've been thinking for a long time that Emma Stone would have trouble with the Critics' Awards, with the early awards, but in the end, she's the type of actress that they've liked to award, especially in recent years, kind of the young starlet who maybe had gotten a nomination a few years before and then, got the Oscar.
Yeah. Tony?
I don't think Stone is winning Best Actress.
Okay, let's talk it through.
It's not a big enough performance. I think this comes down to Natalie Portman and Isabelle Huppert. I had Isabelle Huppert in second, and I almost put her in first. Hers is actually my favorite performance of the year. I love that film, which is a weird thing to say because it's not an easy film to love, but she just blew me away. And I think this really, you've got 2 heavyweights. Now, the only way that I think Emma Stone could win is you've got Natalie Portman, who gives a very heavy performance, and you've got Isabelle Huppert, who gives a very heavy performance. And those 2 could kind of cancel each other out and leave room for Emma Stone. But I think Emma Stone is in third behind the 2 of them.
Is there any chance Meryl Streep wins the SAG?
I wouldn't have thought so, but that speech tonight is going to resonate. I really think it will up her profile, and we know that the Oscars aren't necessarily about the performance; it's about who they like at a given time. And for the next several weeks, who is going to be loved more than Meryl Streep? She put herself in Donald Trump's crosshairs. That's immediately going, and he's going to tweet about it. He's going to, set off a 3 a.m. Twitter storm directed at La Streep. And, that will only make people come to her defense more. I think she just entered this race in a big way with this.
Yeah, I'd still rank her 4th, but it's not out of the question that she could, if she wins something else, could pick up steam. Charles?
I'm not so sure about that because, I'm looking at SAG and I'm kind of thinking to myself, even right when the nominations came out for SAG, I think Emma Stone can win SAG. They like the more they have a history of going for more lighthearted stuff. That was the one where Jean Dujardin, I know Tom likes to say it was the Globes, but honestly, who else was going to win that Globe that year? It was at SAG where the trajectory of that race really changed. And also they went with Renee Zellweger for Chicago back in 2002. So I think that this is right up there. This is right up their alley. And I think that's probably, I think she's probably the one to beat there right now. And I think she might just write it to the Oscars.
I think it's also worth noting that La La Land doesn't have the ensemble nomination. So if they want to give La La Land something, they're going to have to go to those acting races.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Riley?
will say that there was no other group more responsive to Oscar So White last year than SAG. So if any group is going to, back Meryl Streep because of comments that she's made, it'll be them.
Yeah. I just see, and Meryl Streep hasn't won a SAG as recently as she won the Oscar, so she's a bit sort of more overdue for Screen Actors Guild.
She did win for Doubt, though, and usually when they award you once, unless you're on a huge trajectory in film, if you win once, that's good enough for them.
Yes, and has anyone ever won that category twice? Maybe Hilary Swank.
No, Hilary Swank lost her first time. She lost to Annette Bening.
Yeah. So maybe no one's ever won that category. Oh, Annette Bening's won twice. So
SAG?
Maybe.
No,
SAG?
she's
No,
only
not Annette Bening. Sorry, I'm getting all my actresses confused. I'm not on form tonight. Yeah, so maybe no one's ever won that category twice before.
Yeah, I can't think of them. I can't think of any at the moment.
I'm skimming the list now. I can't see anyone. So there you go. So what about lead actor, guys? What are we thinking there?
I think Casey still is out front, barring. I can see Denzel Washington winning because he's never won a SAG award before, and he's. It is a very actorly role. I could see if that.
Have you frozen, Charles?
Nope, we have frozen Charles.
No.
Okay, well, Tony, you can take away. You can take us away.
I'm completely in agreement, probably with whatever Charles was going to say. But I think Casey's in front. I do think Denzel has a chance to win at SAG, only because he hasn't. But I don't know if the Oscars are necessarily dying to give him a third yet. So it just seems to me like this is that Casey's going to be one of those performances that just goes the distance.
Yep, Riley.
Well, we talked about Mahershala Ali, how he's not really the type of performance that you would think would go all the way to the Oscars, and then he was disrupted at the Globes tonight. And I would say the same thing about Casey Affleck. Like, it's very internal, very quiet performance. Even in his big scene, he kind of holds back. So, like I said in the pre-chat, I do think that Denzel Washington will win SAG and the Oscar. I like tonight when, up until Casey Affleck won his award, no Best Picture drama nominee had won a single trophy, which made it, all the more exciting as we got closer.
Yeah. I think Casey Affleck's a somewhat a beatable front runner at the moment. I think I'm very interested in who wins that Screen Actors Guild Award for lead actor. I'm somewhat interested in who wins the BAFTA for that actor, because I could see whether it be a Denzel Washington or a Ryan Gosling picking up steam.
The London Film Critics did not even nominate Denzel, even though they did nominate Viola, and there's usually a fair amount of overlap between them and BAFTA.
Yeah. What do we think about the supporting, I guess the supporting actress race we've talked about a bit already, and Viola Davis looks on track. Does anyone see any hurdles to Viola winning?
No, Viola Davis is, I think, the lock of all locks this year. I just don't think there's any stopping her. And particularly, she gave a really, really strong speech tonight. So, and then on top of, I thought she was absolutely dazzling in the intro to Meryl's part. So I just think I think she's got it in the bag.
Plus, if the Academy members try out that recipe that she gave out today and they like it, that there's no way she's going to lose.
Yes, is that what we should do for our next Slugfest? Make the recipe and see if it's good or not.
I'm not a fan of collard greens, so I would not be a good judge.
Oh no.
I would, and considering that Viola kept saying that it was Meryl's that Meryl's corrections were actually better, so
Yeah.
I would say that tonight was the hurdle for Viola Davis because they had never awarded her for How to Get Away with Murder or various film roles when she's won other industry awards.
Yeah, that's fair. What
about TV?
TV.
Yeah.
Let's cut over to the TV races. What do we think, guys? The Crown. Were we happy with those wins?
Yep. Yep. I stayed with The Crown and I stayed with Claire Foy. I was actually really happy because for the most part, all of my if my first place person didn't win, my second place person did. So like I had Hugh Laurie and Olivia Colman in second in their respective categories. So the only one that I was too stubborn to change was Billy Bob Thornton, which, by the way, what was with that speech? Even Bob Odenkirk at one point was just like, what? We've had a feud since the 40s with Van Johnson? What are you talking about?
I had no idea what that was about. I loved it because I did like it though because it seemed so Billy Bob, and I just love that.
It was so Billy Bob and it was so Golden Globes. I actually quite like that speech. And the good thing is, he's like, it's not like with the TV awards, you got this big audition. Like, this is the thing. There's so much pressure put on those Golden Globe speeches for the film stars. Not because film's more important, but just because it is that lead up. It is that runway to the Oscars. Whereas the Emmys are so far removed from the Golden Globes in terms of calendar and maybe even in terms of like my consciousness that you sort of can just do a bit more of a rambling speech, and it's not really like, oh, Billy Bob Thornton better give a good speech here or he's not going to win the Emmy. So I quite like sometimes those rambly ones at the Globes that sort of have some in-joke or just someone digging someone else.
It's only an in-joke when the other person is in on it.
That's fair.
And Bob Odenkirk's face was so priceless.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I thought they must have been talking about Fargo when they were in Fargo together. Is when he first said, "Oh, I've had a feud with Bob Odenkirk."
Oh my God, that's right. They were together.
Yeah,
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. So there you go.
I got egg on my face about Atlanta. I was totally wrong about that. So I'll own up to that.
It was such a Globe show. Just the buzzy, newy show. Nip Tuck won drama series at the Emmys.
That seems like a Globe show to me. That seems like a Globe show. I don't know why I just didn't think Atlanta just seemed, I guess because I didn't know about the Globes embracing a show about hip hop. I just didn't really think that they would go that route.
Well, it's a couple other things too. Like they didn't really respond to Louis or Master of None, and this is in that same subgenre of comedy where you've got the creator, doing all sorts of things on the show.
Yeah, to be fair, I did beat the drum for Master of None last year. I did think that would do better than it did. So, just to be fair. So, what else do we think, guys? What did you guys think of Jimmy Fallon? Tom was a big fan. I'm actually glad because I think it's good that we have different opinions on the coverage, and it's not just. I don't like it when everyone's critical of one person. But did anyone else here like Jimmy Fallon?
The jokes at the beginning about Trump felt so weird because it just is not his usual wheelhouse. Political jokes are not his usual thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it was so great. I liked it when Jimmy Fallon wasn't Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, to me, I thought Fallon was awful from beginning to end. I thought the only thing that was good was the La La Land part at the beginning and Kit Harington waking up in the limousine. I thought that was really good. I thought the stuff
cold
with Timberlake
open was
was
strong.
good.
The cold open was strong. Yeah.
Cold open was really strong, but his monologue was so bad. I mean, everything fell flat. He's not a political comedian, and so when he tries to do it, it felt fake. It felt forced. And some of the jokes just didn't work. Like, you know, basically making a Ryan Gosling penis joke. You know, the extended Chris Rock thing. It just awful. Just awful.
I feel like the hard thing for Fallon and the hard like tightrope he had to walk tonight is there were people that criticized him for being too safe, right? For being like too nice, too safe. He likes everyone. The bloke's meant to roast people a bit. You meant to like have things at things. You obviously got to make jokes about things and things. And then at the same time, if he does that sort of stuff, he's not being him. And it sort of seems a bit uncomfortable and awkward and things. So I think that's the one thing I find a bit hard about. I think that was the challenge Jimmy Fallon had, to sort of walk this line where he was edgy, but he was himself at the same time. And I think he found it hard to walk that line. I do think that he did, when he came out, the prompter was off. And he did not handle that well, in my mind. He
has always had trouble with ad-libbing.
Yeah. Like, I can't imagine like a Stephen Colbert or a Jimmy Kimmel or a James Corden having dealt with the prompter being off by just spending a couple minutes talking about how the prompter was off and talking about things he might do but not actually doing those things, how this was the Golden Globes moment. Like,
didn't they have rehearsal? Like, I'm sure that he had said jokes before.
Didn't he know his opening joke? I don't know. But anyway, I think...
what was the other... Oh, I lost my train of thought.
I know the one that literally had me just wanting to throw something at the TV was he was basically... before Jessica Chastain and Eddie Redmayne came out, and he does this weird kind of Cypress Hill, remake, which, and I posted this in the forums and it's in my review, that was basically this year's Uma and Oprah moment of the Globes. He was such a non-presence after the opening, and then when he was a presence, he did nothing interesting or funny. Thank God for Kristen Wiig and Steve Carell.
Oh, that was fantastic.
It was so good.
Just destroyed the place.
They're unbelievable.
The thing I was going to mention, though, was about, the weirdest thing is that one of the funniest things he did during his monologue wasn't even him. It was him impersonating Chris Rock doing a routine, because the only way that joke is funny is if it's Chris Rock saying it.
Right, but then why do it? I mean, he literally took like 45 seconds of Chris Rock. I was like, is he hosting the show? Did I miss something?
No, exactly. And it was kind of borderline, like, uncomfortable. Him impersonating a black comedian. It's like, I don't know about that.
Yeah. What I would say about Jimmy Fallon is he did a really good cold open, and I think he did have some good jokes in there. I think there is pressure on you when you're hosting, and if you don't knock it out of the park as a host, and I don't think he particularly did, I think everyone always focuses on the stuff that clunked. Like, I think Neil Patrick Harris hosting the Oscars was not a great host, but I feel like everyone just narrowed in on the stuff he didn't do well. And with Jimmy Fallon, I believe there was stuff to focus in that he didn't do well, but I think the cold open was really strong. I think he had some good jokes in there. I think he had some good intros in there. I think the real winner, if Fallon ends up with mixed reviews, is Jimmy Kimmel, who's hosting the Oscars this year, because it's hard. Like, and I even thought this when I'm watching the cold open with Jimmy Fallon, going, boy, it's going to be hard not to compare Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel as hosts this year. Two guys who have competing shows, both hosting movie awards.
Well, and the other thing that I noticed just about the show in general was that it seemed to me that the technical glitches were off the charts this year. There were at least 3 different times where they would announce a winner, and then it would cut over to the table where the winners are sitting, and then there'd be like a 3-second delay, and then they'd get up. Yeah. It was like it was just this weird. Things were off, you know, the teleprompter announcing Hugh Grant twice. And the thing that is always the problem at the Golden Globes is they need to do something about the audience noise when they come back from commercial. It just seemed to me it was worse this year than it ever been. And you've got, you know, like John Legend and all these people trying to present what they have to present, and in the meantime you hear just audible like talking and people shushing in the audience. It's just it's a train wreck. It's so enjoyable.
And that makes it harder on the host. Like that does make things harder on the host, like having to deal with stuff like that. And it is difficult for like a Jimmy Fallon. He's gonna cop whatever people throw at him. So I was not a huge fan, but Tom O'Neill was, and there are other people who were too. And I'm assuming people there that really just loved it, thought he kept it fun. If you really were not a big fan of how, like, it was a different tone to how Ricky Gervais did it. And he was a very polarizing host for these awards.
Did you like the word association?
What was the word association?
Where he just, I don't know what he was doing. He was rambling. He said one word and he said another word and he mentioned the Beatles. Remember
was that
one?
the lead up to Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made no sense to me. I don't care. It's like, stop it. You're annoying me. Knock it off.
I thought it was average. Yeah, fine. I didn't think it was a clunker, but I don't think it was.
It's an overly long version of 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon. I mean, come on. Not original, not interesting. Stop it.
Yeah. Would have been really good if it was Kevin Bacon, though.
See, there you go. Matt Noble to write the Golden Globes next year.
Yeah, well,
you see at the end the amount of people that were listed as special material written by. It had to have been like over 20 people, and I was just like, that many?
Maybe it was the Tonight Show writers.
That might have been, but it just seemed like for what it ended up being. It's like I'm sure some of those people, if it had to be the whole staff of the Tonight Show, they were just there, and they may not have contributed anything.
Well, the Emmy nominations are coming their way.
What about the one of the things that I've gotten divided response to is Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn.
Oh God, she must have been high.
I think she was faking it, quite frankly.
Yeah, that was there. I was thinking that was their act. Like I thought. Oh, sorry,
I laughed hysterically. I thought it was so good.
I thought it was real, and I was just like, this is. I was like, first of all, I want whatever she is on, but also this is just a train wreck to watch.
This is what I think with award show presenters. Okay, you've got like boring, clearly scripted. They haven't written it. Awful. I hate that. No chemistry between the two. Then a level up from that, you've got like still pretty boring script, but there's a bit of chemistry between the two people. They're sort of reading it quite well. You're sort of enjoying it a little bit. Then you've got people who try something a bit different. It's at least interesting. Like you're at least interesting. Then you got bits that sort of work, and that's like good. And then you got people who knock it out of the park. I feel like Goldie Hawn and Amy Schumer, I thought was pretty interesting. They're doing something a bit different. It didn't seem like they were just completely reading a script. I think it sort of worked. But you got your Steve Carell and your Kristen Wiig who just knocked it out of the park. Incredible. Like, I wouldn't put Amy Schumer and Goldie Hawn's bit in the same breath. But I think it was good. I think it was one of the better presentations of the night because I was actually watching it, had a bit of a chuckle, was enjoying it. Yeah.
I'd say one of the worst was John Hamm.
I quite like John Hamm. I thought he was sort of funny. I quite liked his timing.
I thought it was pretty good.
John Hamm cracks me up. The one that was kind of God, I think it was Timothy Oliphant, and who was he presenting with? Priyanka Chopra. Oh, Drew Barrymore. Yeah. Yeah, that no.
Well, they have a new sitcom out, so maybe you'll enjoy that chemistry.
I was too distracted by Timothy Oliphant just looking good in anything.
Oh well. So
He's gorgeous.
yeah. So it's probably time to wrap up this chat now. I guess we've talked about most of the awards, but there's Riley, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything you don't think we've touched on?
Well, I was looking forward to Best Director because it was the award that was going to be presented right after Meryl Streep. And then I had been predicting Mel Gibson, which was seeming unlikely at the time after all those La La Land wins. But I thought, oh, what if he does win? What'll happen?
Yeah. And he didn't.
He did not, yeah. I would also say that the television awards were fairly predictable this year. I mean, the last few years, they've awarded 9 different networks, 8 different networks, even though they only have 11 categories. So it's been really difficult to predict, like, okay, where is the Showtime win going to be? Where is the Netflix win going to be? And if you get one wrong, then you kind of get everything wrong. Whereas this year, they just really responded to the bait that was The Crown and that was The Night Manager. So we had these big sweeps.
It was hard to pick up on The Night Manager, though, right? Like it wasn't easy to predict Hugh Laurie or Olivia Colman.
No.
Yeah. Or Tom Hiddleston, actually, probably the toughest of the 3 to predict.
Well, and I think this was a return to something that I wrote an article recently about how the Globes give TV shows don't always spread the wealth. It's not as common as you think. So every once in a while, usually every 2 or 3 years, there's a show that they just zero in on, and they decide they're going to give it at least 3. This year, we thought it could be either The Crown or People versus O.J. Simpson. In this case, it was The Night Manager. But it's not uncommon for them to do that.
And then what was fun on the film side was even though they gave La La Land 7 awards, in the other 7 categories, they awarded 6 different studios.
Yeah. I think often we can get a bit consumed by Golden Globes trying to predict the Oscars or influence the Oscars or influence the Emmys, predict the Emmys, go with what's cool or whatever. And I think often we can see things where that happened. We can see Atlanta, we can see Moonlight, we can see La La, we can see this. But I think there's also sometimes we underestimate just the Golden Globes have a particular taste. There are certain things they sort of like. And I think The Night Manager probably fits that. I know they're very different types of things, but I do remember when Atonement sort of upset for Best Picture there. I don't know if that was as much about them trying to influence anything as much as they just liked Atonement. They thought that was their favorite film of the year. And it didn't really matter that, I don't know what else was actually nominated for the Globes that year in that category, whether it was Babel.
No Country for Old Men. There Will Be Blood.
That was the No Country year. Yeah, so No Country, they were they're wanting to predict the Oscars, surely. And then just Atonement won.
That was also a year that they knew it wasn't going to be televised also.
That is true.
Yeah.
That is fair. So anyway, there's, I think, a whole bunch of sort of stuff. And I think The Night Manager obviously really just hit them in their sort of sweet spot. What, Tony, do you have anything else you want to talk about?
No, I just Meryl Streep for president of everything. And she needs to have Kristen Wiig and Viola Davis and Steve Carell speak at her inauguration, which I'm sure they would be happy to do. Nobody would refuse her after tonight.
Charles, anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, I got no other opinions to give after reading through the forums about Meryl Streep's speech. So, yeah, I'm done. But go La La Land. Hopefully, there's no backlash.
Yeah, I think for there to be backlash, there needs to be some sort of discontentment with the product as well. I don't think you could find an Oscar season where there was a front runner, there was backlash, where there wasn't a reason. I don't think people get sick of something for the sake of getting sick of something.
Never underestimate Americans, Matt. Never underestimate us.
That's the line of the night.
Okay, and on that, we might wrap up our Golden Globes coverage for Gold Derby, or at least our web show Golden Globes coverage. There'll be probably a few more articles and stuff getting punched out tonight and tomorrow about them. And go to Gold Derby, read those articles, read those thoughts, how it's going to impact the Oscar races, get into the forums to discuss with people how you think things are going to go. Also, just a big thanks to Charles and Riley and Tony and Amanda and Marcus and Daniel and David and Robert and...
Wait, Matt, who did you forget?
Wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Oh, no.
I'm not married, so I don't have a wife to forget, which is nice. Yeah, I don't know. That's everyone. So thanks everyone for helping contribute, and thanks everyone for watching the show. Gold Derby, your place to be for award show coverage. That's goldderby.com. Thanks. Bye, guys.